We're going to be exploring waterfalls just becoming unfrozen, from laughing Whitefish Falls to hidden gems across Michigan's Upper Peninsula. April in the North Country is a rare moment between seasons, when winter stays late and spring tries to fight its way through. Let's get started.
It's late April in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. While most of the state is seeing signs of spring, up here winter still has a firm grip. I'm starting my journey in the lakeside town of Munising, where snowbanks linger in Lake Michigan's cold waters shape the landscape. From Munising, I head west to Rapid River, a small community at the gateway to the Hiawatha National Forest. Snow still coats the ground, making it a winter wonderland for outdoor adventurers. In late April, the Rapid River begins to shed the icy grip of winter. Sheets of ice cling to the shoreline while the rushing water pushes free, carrying with it the sound of spring's arrival. The river swells with snowmelt from the surrounding forests, tumbling over rocks and bends with renewed force. What was silent and frozen just weeks ago now comes alive with movement, its banks lined with patches of lingering snow and early hints of green trying to break through.
When we left Munising today, we came west on US 2, turned north on 41 to arrive here at the Rapid River Falls. It's not one of the larger falls in here in the UP. The drop's only about 5 feet, and you can hardly see that today with the amount of water that's rushing over it. These rocks I'm standing on are limestone. The whole county is covered. This is the bedrock that runs through this whole county, so you see a lot of rock over here. And the bottom of the river itself is all rock. But it creates this little falls. There's a nice little park here. As you can see at this time of the year, this early in the spring, the snow is melting, this water picks up, and it's just roaring through here. It's a great place to stop off at.
The beauty of the Rapid River at ice melt lies in its contrast. The deep, cold current moves swiftly against a backdrop of snow piles, dripping icicles, and mist rising from the water's edge. The air carries a mix of cold freshness and the earthy scent of thawing ground. It's a fleeting season, one where winter and spring meet head-on, and the river becomes a powerful showcase of nature's transition. From Rapid River, the drive turns north toward Munising, known as the waterfall capital of Michigan. In late April, Munising's waterfalls are at their best. Ice melting, snow piled deep, and powerful spring runoff, making each stop unforgettable. At Wagner Falls, the shift from winter to spring creates a scene that feels almost magical. Water surging stronger with snowmelt while thick ice still clings to the rocks along the cascade. Snowbanks line the trail, softening under the warming sun, and the sound of rushing water fills the quiet forest.
We're just outside of Munising right now. We're on M94, which runs just to the south of Munising. We've come back to what's known as Wagner Falls. Beautiful little area. There's a little parking area out by the road, and then you come down a really nice pathway, a boardwalk along here. Beautiful little stream. And in the end, you can see behind me the waterfall itself, which is a really beautiful falls. This is kind of a really scenic area, and definitely an easy one to get back to, so make this one of your stops.
At the overlook, I meet a photographer, bundled against the lingering chill, patiently capturing the contrast of seasons. Icy textures against flowing water, shadows against sunlight.
Got out here to the end of the fall so you can see behind us we've got a beautiful view here. We met a guy out here, James, and he's from Midland. You're up here taking pictures. Is this something you do a lot?
I try to come up once a year. It's just so gorgeous, and This year is the first year I've been up with all the snow, and it's really quite fantastic to come and see them really flowing well this year.
Yeah, and that's what we were looking for, and one of the things we found out as we went along is some of these trails are still pretty rough to get back on.
Yes, they are, and I was glad I had boots, and you have to be very careful so you don't fall.
You really do.
Yeah.
I've seen you do just a lot of different pictures. What do you try to look for when you're taking them?
What I try to do, I try to slow down the shutter speed so I can get that kind of a ghosting of the water.
Okay.
I also like the way that the sun falls, kind of dapples some on the snow, and just a little bit different angles. Try to get up a little tighter, just something different that maybe when you come away, it's not the typical thing you see on all the flyers or whatever.
Okay. You take them back to edit them?
Yep, take them back, edit them up a little bit, and I come up with a friend of mine, Bill, make a calendar for him every year, and kind of put them together and just enjoy the memories for the year. So.
As winter loosens its grip, the ice melts away, and a new season awakens here in the Northwoods. Transition is brief, and for those who seek it, the beauty of Wagner Falls in late April is worth the wait. Hike in snow-covered woods, flowing water cutting through the ice. From the quiet beauty of Wagner Falls, the road leads just a few minutes north into Munising, where the towering Munising Falls waits tucked into its sandstone canyon.
As you're walking back to the main falls, just before you get there on your right, you'll notice that there's another little waterfall that comes down. This is all rock back in here. And so these little rivers and streams over the thousands of years have cut trails through it. And it's just a beautiful little spot, especially this time of the year. We got snow along the shoreline. The water is open and running well. And you know what? It's pretty nice out here today. We got about 60 degrees. Although we found out we were standing at the road, we were hot. And as we walked back here, all of a sudden, we felt like we walked into a refrigerator. So you want to keep that in mind when you go back hiking in the woods at this time of the year, that the temperature can change a little bit as you're going along.
Munising Falls after the snowmelt is a striking sight, with the sandstone cliffs glistening from the steady flow of water crashing down nearly 50 feet. The ice columns that once framed the falls through winter have mostly broken away, leaving behind only scattered shards at the base, slowly melting into the stream below. The path to the overlook is damp from runoff, and the air feels cool and fresh with the mist drifting off the falls. It's a place where spring takes hold quickly, yet the memory of winter still lingers in the shaded rock walls and chilly breeze that funnels through the narrow canyon. Towering ice columns still clinging to the sandstone walls.
Well, again, we're just outside of Munising. Another falls here is called Alger Falls, and it's right along 28. It's one of these you can pull off the side of the road and just take a quick picture of it. It's just a great one to see. It's really nice too because it cascades over steps of rock as it comes down. And like I said, it's easy to find. I will tell you though, if you're coming from the east towards Munising, you could drive right past it because it's angled back into the woods here. You can see it over to my side. If you're coming out of Munising, you can't miss it. But always remember, it's right here at 28 and M94, right at the intersection. Can't miss it.
Alger Falls, sitting right along M28 at the edge of Munising, comes alive in the days after snowmelt. The small cascade that trickles in summer becomes a powerful sheet of water rushing over its layered sandstone ledges with a force fueled by spring runoff. Patches of snow linger in the shaded corners, and the roar of the falls greets travelers even before they see it. Because it's so close to the road, Alger Falls is often the first waterfall visitors encounter on their way into town, giving them a taste of the UP's dramatic seasonal change. In late April, the surrounding hillside is still waking from winter. Bare trees stretch upward. Leaving Alger Falls behind, the road carries me west through Munising, where deep banks of snow still line the streets and parking lots even at the end of April. The town feels caught between seasons. Lake Superior winds reminding you of winter while the dripping eaves hint at spring's slow arrival. Just a few miles farther, the quirky little town of Christmas appears, with its year-round holiday spirit standing out against the lingering snow. Just west of Munising lies a town that celebrates the holiday year-round. The town of Christmas, just west of Munising, is a place where the holiday never ends.
Well, you know, we kept driving along the road, and we must have drove a little bit further than what I thought, because we made it all the way to the North Pole. We're here at Christmas. We're on St. Nicholas Avenue right now. We just pulled off here, and I'm thinking, hey, as long as I'm here, I'm going to go in and get my Christmas shopping done.
A giant roadside Santa greets travelers year-round, while shops and signs carry the festive theme through every season. Even with snow still on the ground in late April, the bright colors and cheerful displays stand in contrast to the lingering winter landscape. At the heart of town sits the Kewadin Casino, offering gaming, dining, and entertainment that draw both locals and visitors. Together, the holiday spirit and the casino give Christmas a unique charm. Part playful roadside stop, part lively gathering place along the shores of Lake Superior. Christmas, Michigan may be small, but it's big on spirit. Even in April snow, the town shines bright with a sense of fun and holiday cheer. Here in Christmas, Michigan, even Santa seems to call this place home. From the friendly giant Santa statue on the roadside, to the quiet forest trails and the glistening shore of Lake Superior just beyond, it's a little slice of the North Pole up here in the Upper Peninsula. Come for a greeting, stay for the wild beauty around you. Continuing along M28, I make a roadside stop at Scott Falls, one of the easiest waterfalls to see in the entire UP. Scott's Falls is a charming roadside waterfall tucked just off M28. Easy to miss if you're not paying attention, yet worth the quick stop. In late April, the snow has mostly melted, revealing the dark rocks over which water tumbles in a steady silver ribbon. A small pool at the base catches the flow, reflecting the surrounding trees in the soft spring sunlight. Its accessibility makes it a favorite for travelers seeking a brief but scenic pause on their Upper Peninsula journey, offering a quiet moment to take in the power and beauty of rushing water amid the last remnants of winter.
Now here's a waterfall that you'll find right along the side of the road. We're up on M28. We are about 2 miles east of Alger. You got to keep your eyes open, and if you're coming from the west, it's pretty easy to see because, as you can tell, it's back in just a little bit. And coming from the east, you might not spot it as easy. It's called Scott's Falls. Generally, during the summer, you don't have this much water coming over, but because of all the melting that's going on up here and all the snow we still do have, we've got a pretty good rush of water that's coming over. It's just a nice little falls right next to the highway here, so you can just pull over, take a quick picture, and be on your way to the next one.
Across the highway, Lake Superior shoreline with ice still clinging to the rocks. The power of Superior is always humbling, especially this time of year when winter refuses to let go.
When we first got up here, we were coming down US 2 along Lake Michigan, which was all open. We noticed most of the inland lakes that we got to still had ice on them. We came up here, now we're on 28 up by Superior, which is out behind me right now. Looks like it's still got plenty of ice on it. Now, this is end of April, and fortunately, the rivers are open, which means the waterfalls are open, and that's what we're doing, looking for waterfalls, and that's where we're going now to see if we can find some more.
My next stop takes me east along M94 to one of the Upper Peninsula's most spectacular waterfalls, Laughing Whitefish Falls. The beauty this time of year from the snow melting makes this one of the most dramatic falls you will ever see. At nearly 100 feet, Laughing Whitefish Falls is one of the tallest cascades in Michigan. Even in late April, the snow is deep here, making the view from the overlook even more magical. Michigan's Upper Peninsula has many wonders, some hidden in plain sight, others deep in the stillness of the forest. Today we're venturing to one of its most beautiful places, Laughing Whitefish Falls, not in the summer when crowds gather, but in late winter when silence rules and every footstep is a reminder of the wilderness. The hike back to the falls is fairly short, just under a mile, but in the deep snow it can feel much longer, and it did. Boots and snowshoes are a must this time of year.
We still got a work cut out for you. Up in front of me, this is a road normally, and there is a parking lot they said at the end, but you definitely can't drive down it. I wouldn't. but we're gonna walk it and see how far we get. Yeah, we're going back there. They said it was nice, it was worth the trip. We're gonna make it. Come on along.
We're starting here just off County Road 327. The hike is short, less than a mile, but don't let that fool you. When the trail is covered in snow like this, it feels like you're walking into another world. Each step is deliberate. The snow cushions sound so you notice more. The breeze through the pines. This is hiking at winter's pace. People don't realize this trail is open year-round, and in winter or early spring, it becomes a different kind of beautiful, raw, silent, alive.
It's April 26th. It is 60 degrees out. And you can see all the snow we got. Now, it is starting to melt. In fact, it's probably melted quite a bit from what we've heard. But the snow right now is a little bit soft. It's almost like walking through sand. So even where it seems to be packed down and not leaving much of a track, it's kind of hard to walk in. Just kind of things, you need to keep these in mind. Make sure you've got enough time to go out and do these. Make sure they're physically capable of coming out and doing these things. But boy, is it well worth it. Let's keep going.
As I headed down the trail, it was one beautiful scene after another. This time of year brings a whole new look to Mother Nature. I stopped to take a few photos to add to my collection of this incredible wilderness.
We've gotten down to the end of the road. There is a parking area out here, but there's way too much snow on the roads right now to even try to bring a car back here. It looked like somebody did. They got stuck along the way. Also, further back than we did, but much harder to get out of. The little picnic spot here, you can see I'm standing next to the hand pump, and you can see where the pump handle is. It should be up in here, but that's how much snow we've got sitting here right now. And if you even look back further, you can see the top of that picnic table back there. That it's going to take a few weeks to melt the snow off of that one. So, but we got about another half mile back to the falls itself down this trail. So we're going to keep moving. We came along the trail. Fortunately, there are benches out here if you want to stop and rest. Unfortunately, the snow's a little too deep to be doing that. But at least you can see where the bench is at.
In just a few weeks, all of this will be gone. The snow, the ice. Wildflowers will bloom here, but right now, this moment is ours. This transitional period, where winter loosens its grip, is crucial for wildlife. Everything's preparing for spring. Whether you come for the adventure, the peace, or the challenge, Laughing Whitefish Falls in late winter will leave you changed. And if you're lucky, you'll get to hear it laugh. If you've never been here in winter, put it on your list. Laughing Whitefish Falls is pure Michigan at its best. This young couple were the only ones we seen on our hike to the falls.
We were warned that it's a good idea, once you see these packed trails going along, to stay on them. And this is kind of like the reason here. When you step off, you sink. How'd you like to have to walk through that? Well, coming along the trail, going back to the falls, we found a sign for the North Country Trail. And the North Country Trail runs all through the UP from one end to the other. And this is the trail going through here. Obviously, nobody's been down that trail in a while, and probably won't be until this snow melts. It looks like it'd be pretty deep out there. Let me walk out that way. Well, yeah, it can get deep. So we'll just leave that alone.
Crunching softly underfoot, the snow-covered trail winds deeper into the forest, each step bringing the distant roar of the falls closer, guiding us toward the overlook just ahead. You're bundled in warm winter gear, boots crunching on the icy path as you begin your climb up the snow-covered wooden stairs leading to Laughing Whitefish Falls. Each step carefully placed to avoid slipping. The air is crisp and silent except for the muffled sound of rushing water ahead. As you ascend, glimpses of the frozen forest peek through the snow-laden branches. Finally, the staircase opens up to the viewing platform, where the magnificent falls cascade in layers, partly frozen in icy sheets, with water still tumbling underneath. A breathtaking reward for the snowy climb. And then, the view opens up. It's a sight that makes every step of the climb unforgettable. Sheets of ice glisten as water still tumbles beneath, creating a frozen masterpiece that makes every careful step worth the climb. The sound, the shape, the spirit of it, it feels alive. The Laughing Whitefish Falls were named after the Laughing Whitefish River, which in turn was named by the Ojibwe people who thought the mouth of the river looked like a laughing fish. And in these moments you can understand why. If you come here this time of year, you've got to be ready. Snowshoes or traction cleats help a lot. Dress in layers, waterproof boots. Bring water. Even though it's cold, you'll sweat more than you think. And let someone know where you're going. I think this is the best time to be here. No bugs, no crowds.
Well, we made it down to the bottom of the falls now. As you can see, it's a really beautiful falls that's coming down here. This time of the year, there's a lot of water running. We talked to some people who say later in the year it might be just a trickle, but right now there's a lot of water coming down. Rough trip out here, and we got a rough trip back. But coming out, the last thing you get to is a stairway that brings you down to the bottom. And as you can see, the snow behind me here, it's hard packed, but it's icy. And as you're coming down these stairs, these hard packed, they lead right towards where you're going to step onto the stairway at. You got to hold on. You got to make sure your feet are stable, because you fall out here, you could be in trouble. You don't want to do that. But man, is it worth it. This is great. But like I said, we got a long trip back yet, so we're going to get going.
Moving on from Laughing Whitefish Falls to our last late winter stop, the Eban Ice Caves. It is about a 25 to 30 minute drive to the ice caves near Eben Junction. You'll head west on M94, then follow the local roads north toward the small parking area where the trail begins. The hike into the caves is about a mile, and while not long, it can be challenging in late winter with melting snow and ice, so traction gear is recommended.
Okay, well, we have made a trip out to the Eban Ice Caves, and it's a wilderness area out here, and it is treacherous in the winter. I suggest if you're going to come out here, you probably better make it in the summertime first, or in the warm months, because once the snow's out here and you get people coming out, these trails are just glass. They're just like ice, and we're slipping and sliding all over the place. But then you have to turn around. Easiest way is down to slide on your butt, because it's just all ice. And it's a heck of a climb. It takes a real workout. Although we got some kids out here running around. They're like mountain goats, you know. They are just climbing up and down the side of this stuff like nothing. But not this guy. Not this guy. But hey, irregardless, come on out and try it.
The hike to the Eben Ice Caves in very late winter can turn into more of a challenge than an easy walk, especially when the trail is melting. What started as a determined climb quickly became a slow, slippery struggle. Each step up the icy slope felt like 2 steps back, and I found myself trailing behind a group of children who, with surprising energy and laughter, were clawing and crawling their way up the hill. Their small boots slipped and slid just like mine, but they somehow managed to keep pushing forward, giving the whole climb a mix of frustration and humor. The closer we got to the caves, the harder it became to keep balance, and it felt like the trail itself was testing our determination. Finally, reaching the Eben Ice Caves after the slippery climb brings a real sense of satisfaction, as if every careful step was part of earning the reward. The towering walls of ice glow with shades of blue and green, shimmering in the sunlight as water drips and sparkles down their surfaces. Stepping inside, you're surrounded by curtains of frozen water that feel both fragile and majestic. Climbing into the Eben Ice Caves in very late winter is both thrilling and humbling. The massive walls of ice, once solid and secure, now glisten with meltwater running down their faces. On our way back, there was a young couple who had underestimated the climb, venturing up without any kind of spikes or traction gear. The girl in particular struggled, clinging to roots and branches with every step, until Denny, equipped with hiking spikes, offered her a steady hand. Grateful for the help and laughing at her own situation, she looked up at him with a grin and said, "Will you marry me?" Everyone around burst out laughing. the moment cutting through the tension of the climb. It was a perfect reminder that sometimes the stories you take home from a hike aren't about making it all the way, but about the unexpected connections and light-hearted moments along the trail.
If you're ready to explore these beautiful places yourself or find more adventures across Michigan's Upper Peninsula, visit greatgetaways.tv. And don't forget to check out our Facebook. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.